Gene Weber is a retired individual. He's really involved in the community in Platteville, and I think he cares genuinely about what's going to happen in Platteville in the future. And so he contacted me last November and just said, you know, I heard you're a new professor here. What classes are you teaching, and how can we work together and create a win-win situation? And I said, well, I'm going to be teaching a revegetation class, and I'm looking for a project where my students can actually go out and learn how to grow plants and plant them in landscape, and maybe a few years down the road see how they did. And he said, well, great. I work with the Platteville Community Arboretum. We have a trail system that runs through town, and it connects up with the trails on campus, and we're trying to create a green space, so we would like to expand it, and maybe your students could grow some plants for us. He said, I know native plants are really expensive, and that's what we'd like to have, but I know the native seed is really cheap, and he had done it before with my predecessor, Professor Tom Hunt, who recently retired. And so he suggested that we work together and do this project. I heard from Dawn Lee about the PACE program, and she said maybe that could provide some of the tools and the equipment that we'd need. So I applied for a PACE grant and got funding to buy soil and to buy kind of all the tools that we would need to grow the plants and then come out here and plant them. Right now it's just a very small area. But we've planted about anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 plants. And so it seems like a large number, but when you stretch across this trail system is 2 to 3 miles long. That's really not that many. And so what we're hoping is this is going to be an ongoing project where the plants are going to need maintenance in the future. Students could come along at the right time of the year in the fall and collect seeds, and we can bring them back to the greenhouse on campus and grow more and start expanding it. And that's the general idea. Is eventually it's going to be a 5 to maybe even 10-year long project. We'll have nice native plants growing along the entire trail system.
Getting our hands dirty and having the hands-on experience was awesome. It was a lot better than just reading in a book how to do something. We actually learned how to plant them and where they should be planted, and there was a lot of research that went into it. Our student groups did a lot of research and planning before we actually planted, but then the actual planting was also pretty cool to do.
Initially we came out about 4 or 5 hours just to walk along the site and see it so the students can get familiar with the terrain and where the plants are going to go. Then we came out and we spent about, I would say, again, 4 to 5 hours planting the plants, but before that we had to germinate the seeds in the greenhouse, and there's a lot of special requirements for germinating native plants. Some of them have to be scarred, some of them have to be put in a refrigerator, and you have to mimic winter conditions for a certain amount of time. So that took a little bit of time, and then once they start sprouting, we have to take all the sprouts and put them in trays and take care of them, water them, do a little bit of weeding in the greenhouse. My hope is that in fall I will have an introductory class, and I can bring them out here and show, look, this is something that the students have done. It's an ongoing project, and I will make them come out and do one last weed and possibly even do seed collecting, because that's something that's really cool for the students. They can come out and I can teach them the names of the native plants, and they can maybe see some of them in flower, collect some of the seeds, and then let them know that maybe in a year or two when they take another class, they'll actually get to germinate those seeds and grow them and then plant them. And it was mainly because of Dawn Lee. Dawn Lee actually introduced me to Gene Weber, and Dawn Lee is the PACE coordinator for the School of Agriculture. And so it was kind of, they're the ones who set up and made sure that this opportunity could happen. I really appreciate the PACE project because I'm a new faculty member here. I haven't been here for years, so I don't have a lot of the resources that people gather over the years, so I was able to buy gloves. And I now have shovels, I have stakes, and all those supplies, and it seems like a small thing, but when you add it up and you spread it over 25 students, the costs can kind of build up, and that's something that the PACE program can help. Because of this, there's now a local organization called the Stone Cottage, I guess it is. It's an older historical home in town, and they've heard about what we're doing here, and now they would like to have native plants there because they would like to make the cottage look like it did in the early 1800s, and so part of that is having the plants that would have been here at that time. And so they're hoping that we can work with them down the road. So it might expand and become a larger project, not just with the Platteville Community Arboretum, but with other community partners.